Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Before we start with today's video, in which I'll be responding to some of your unpopular K-pop opinions for the third time, I just wanted to quickly thank you all for 200 subscribers. I literally didn't hit 100 subscribers too long ago, so I was actually quite shook. Now enough with the talking, let's start. Opinion 1. Line distributions don't matter, but when a company does it to certain members on purpose on every song, then it becomes a problem. For example, ഡᴇʟᴅ from NCT, he gets like one line every song. It's clear that SM doesn't like him, or anyone in Wave for that matter, and that is fucked up. I actually do kind of agree with you, but I think, when people talk about line distributions, it's mostly about a certain member getting mistreated anyways, so I guess it's a problem most of the time. Even though I'm not into NCT that much, I heard of ഡᴇʟᴅ not getting lines and obviously getting mistreated is really bad. Especially, if there isn't an obvious reason like language barriers in the case of ᴠᴅᴅ or a certain type of voice, which just doesn't fit the current song that much. I hope fans will be able to address this, without hating on other members or embarrassing ഡᴇʟᴅ. Opinion 2. Please check your facts before claiming cultural appropriation or racism. I've seen people come and say that they are sure that something in a music video is CA when they 1 are not from said culture that is supposedly being appropriated, or 2 no one under the MV has complained about it, like no one said, oh, I like the music, but this element was taken from my culture and it was disrespectful. The person just assumed that it appropriated something when she had no idea herself. I'm talking about a comment I saw about mamamoo's IA, between. I do not get how people, who are not from a culture, which got appropriated, feel like they have the right to claim CA happened. Like no, you're not from that culture, and no, you can't judge whether it happened or not. If someone from the appropriated culture speaks up about it, we should help to raise awareness. But again, we do not judge it or claim it, without being from that culture. Especially, if you haven't educated yourself on that culture as well. Opinion 3. I'm tired of people using mamamoo when they talk about cultural appropriation and /i-dle being held accountable, as if they didn't acknowledge their mistake and just brushed it off. Like they apologized like 4 times directly after the incident, Blackface I mean, when they were informed of its consequence. You can not like them or not forgive them, but please stop using them as an example as if they did that every year. I do definitely agree that we collectively should stop using them, since it first of all happened quite some time ago, and secondly, like you stated, they apologized already. Sadly, stuff like that comes up over and over again, and don't get me wrong, this is an important topic to talk about, but if the /i-dle already apologized and educated themselves, bringing it up again can cause some serious damage, which the /i-dle does, at least in my opinion, not deserve anymore. I also do not want to silence it completely, but instead of making new threads over again of idols, who apologized, being problematic, we should consider spreading the importance of the topic further without hate. Opinion 4. Regarding the CA issues of NCT, I do feel like it was wrong what they did, but again, straight up hating on members for this is also not right. I am not trying to defend them in any way, and I know what they did was wrong, and I am a Muslim myself and I know my culture, but we all know that SM is one bitch of a company and they do not give 2 flying fucks about these matters if they do not concern Koreans. I've seen people on Twitter going that the members could have opposed the company, they are not kids and can apologize for their actions. But do they think the members will apologize and SM is going to let them? They don't even translate the convo if someone tries to educate them through fan calls, and you think they will let them apologize? People straight up start harassing the members in their lives and social media, and that is not doing any better for this issue. First of all, I want to quickly apologize for spreading false information about NCT in my last video. My research was clearly not enough, and I'll try to fix that in the future. Speaking of this opinion, I again do agree. I think both the idols and the companies should know about CA, especially if they get pushed into the US market, and for me it is quite obvious that some idols don't even get to apologize because of their company. Also, for the 30,000th time, do not hate, but try to educate, geez. Opinion 5. SP says I would like if there were less comebacks with a full cohesive album than 3 comebacks a year with singles or mini albums that the song are random with each other. Basically, I would like if in K-pop more groups had a complete body of work as an album and not an album that reminds me a playlist on shuffle. I agree with this so much, but only if many albums being connected to each other as a series count as well. I know some people only care about the title track, but for me the whole album or mini album is important, and it being cohesive and telling some sort of story is somehow a must for me. Great examples for me are BTS's series like YNWA, Love Yourself or Map of the Soul, Dreamcatcher's still ongoing Tree of Language series, or Red Velvet's Rêve Festival saga. I just love it when songs in one album or series connect with each other and can be seen both as a good song on their own and also as a part of a story. Opinion 6. If people say TXT is popular because of BTS Treasure, ITZY, Stray Kids, Blackpink, Red Velvet etc. are popular because of their seniors, it's not a bad thing though, but each K-pop group has the fans who stan that group only because of that. Here we are again, with the TXT double standards, and yes, it is true, and yes, it is common in K-pop, because it helps rookies to get a fanbase even before their debut and helps marketing them, and there is certainly nothing bad about it, since the trainees still worked hard to debut. Just stop like TXT are the only group where it applies to, and admit it, thank you. Opinion 7. Multi K-pop Life says having a good year does not equal nominations. In your responding to Unpopular K-pop Opinions Part 1 video, you responded to an opinion about GOT7 being nominated but Stray Kids not. As I've said, WWFC should have included Stray Kids, but GOT7, without it being their year, received music show wins for Not by the Moon. Therefore, they met the basic nomination criteria. Stray Kids didn't. I admit as a stay that sucks, but what can we do? Our streams were up on YouTube, but South Korea just wasn't interested, sad face, more fool them I guess. Stays stay winning. And Opinion 8. Multi K-pop Life also says Stray Kids weren't robbed by Mama in the SOTY/eroty/AOTY categories. First off, I've been a stay for almost 2 years. I love those 8 boys. They work so hard for us, and whilst God's Menu was a cultural reset, it didn't get a single music show win, meaning that it didn't stand a chance to be nominated. The song is, of course, amazing, but it just can't stand. Every other song had, I believe, at least 2 music show wins. Dynamite won SOTY mostly because it was massive and got over 20 music show wins. I love SKZ, but honestly the Korean side of the fan base is smaller, and the music show wins weren't there. There's always next year, and after Kingdom, I'm hoping the Korean side of the fan base will grow and they can be nominated next year because they so deserve a nomination. The only category we were robbed in this year was Worldwide Fans' Choice. There's no excuse for that one nit. So, these 2 opinions work well with each other, so I decided to put them together. Honestly, I sometimes do not get why certain songs don't get any wins, especially if they were quite popular, but obviously a song being popular in the Western world does not mean that it is automatically popular in Korea as well, and in the end, we talk about the Korean music market, so it does make sense why they didn't win anything. And I'm not saying this because I'm an ARMY, but BTS winning all these categories was actually quite obvious, since their achievements were huge this year and also because our fandom is big as hell. Besides that, I also hope that Stray Kids will be able to grow even more and become bigger, since I like quite some of their songs. Opinion 9. K-pop idols are always dieting. People, especially girls, should understand that they are not naturally skinny, at least most of them are not. Even naturally skinny idols will not be that skinny if they were not idols. They exercise a lot but have not enough calories intake. It is not an healthy lifestyle. And it is not because you saw them on TV eating 3 bites that they eat well every day. As a girl, not being the skinniest but on a healthy weight, I sometimes do not get how people think being that skinny is actually possible without almost starving themselves. Besides that, we can't forget that Asian girls tend to be more petite than Western body types. You all don't need to be so insecure, because you are not as skinny as your favorite idol. Eating disorders and unhealthy diets are quite common among idols and definitely not something you want to endure just in order to look like them. If you want to change something, do it in a healthy way. Opinion 10. Fairy Tyun says this is very oddly specific, but it really pisses me off that all big hit labels groups are not allowed to go to ISAC anymore because an argument MBC and Big Hit had ages ago. LMAO, I just want my idol interactions. So, I do disagree with this one. Obviously, no one knows what really happened, but as far as I know BTS got allegedly mistreated severely times by MBC, and besides that, the situation is apparently heated, because BTS didn't attend their year-end show, even though they had reasons for it. Anyways, no matter what happened, I am pretty sure that there's a good reason why big hit label artists aren't allowed to go there anymore, and as far as I know is ISAC not fair to the idols and also quite stressful and exhausting. Opinion 11. дэл이 says unpopular opinion, but if a fandom is seen as a majority being quite toxic, it makes the group look really bad to me. It doesn't mean the whole fandom is toxic or that the group is toxic, it's just that the overall perspective changes as the fans are ultimately who is seen most often on social media by internationals. And if the only perspective of a group is that their fans just crap on our faves, it puts me off the whole group. So, for me personally, does the fandom not matter that much, but I can totally see where you're coming from. So, first of all, y'all should stop hating on others, because it can make your faves look bad, and besides that, no one deserves to be hated on. And secondly, participating in fandom activities is a huge part of standing a group for many people out there, and then being met with toxic people, who try to drag others down, is definitely nothing you want to experience, when you're literally just here to have fun and enjoy your faves. Opinion 12. NCT will flop sooner or later. The concept of adding new members is cool but will just hurt them in the long run. I know it's kind of a joke in the NCT fandom about NCT having 65 members in like 2030, but it might be hard for them to get new fans since most people don't want to learn all 65 members' names and stuff, and SM won't be able to catch up. I mean, SM doesn't even know what they are doing with them right now. Since the whole concept of adding members and stuff is quite new, or at least has been the most successful with NCT, we obviously can't be sure what will happen, but me preferring groups with less members, I do have to agree. I just personally think that it could be really overwhelming for some people, who want to stan them, because there are like so many people in so many units and so on. When I first started getting into K-pop, BTS was already a lot, and I don't know if I would have been willing to learn 20 plus people and their units and positions and all. This is, by the way, my experience, and if it is different for you and you don't mind that many people, it is okay. Besides that, there is also an option to focus on only one sub-unit at a time, which might help. Opinion 13. All K-pop companies stink. Well, what's new? The whole K-pop industry is shady and every company has something bad about it, so I definitely agree. I know some companies are worse and some are slightly better, but in the end there's always at least something off about a company. Opinion 14. Multi-K-pop Life says SM's history never being brought up in a discussion of worst companies confuses me because their history is bad but also helped shape modern K-pop. When discussing awful companies, people will be quick to jump to Cube and YG for a lack of promotion and favoring certain artists, at no fault of the artists themselves, or at SM for leaving EXO in the dust and JYP for the toxic behaviors shown, regarding things like weight and over-sexualization of underage idols, but most people somehow neglect to mention SM's 7 lawsuits. 4 Chinese lawsuits and 3 Korean. These lawsuits were usually for unfair pay, slave contracts, or mistreatment. Those are awful things. One idol stated that he was made to perform at a year-end award show though he had been in the hospital that day to receive fluids and was ill. Yes, SM seems better now, but when the discussion of the worst company comes up, JYP and YG's history are both brought up. Why is SM's never brought up? SM's slave contracts are the reason that the 7 YEAR contracts exist right now. As stated in the last opinion, every company has something bad about it, but I do agree. Honestly, I think that SM was and still is one of the worst companies treatment-wise out there, and competing with YG and Cube is not that easy. I think you summed everything up well, so I actually don't have much to add. It's a fact that SM does treat some of their idols extremely bad and also does not pay their idols a fair amount of money. Like the only good thing about this companies are their artists. Opinion 15. I hate that every time something good happens for BTS, like the military deferment law being passed, fans of older groups start saying things like, "My group also was loved by South Korean, why don't they get to benefit from this bill?" While I understand that you wished your favorite group got this, it's just incorrect to say that the group had the same impact as BTS. They don't understand that BTS's accomplishments and their economic effect is what got the attention of South Korean government. Not BTS or Big Hit trying to push this through, nor are they afraid to serve. Jin has stated multiple times that when they are called they will serve. Haters just think if BTS are gone then their favorite group will suddenly be blasted into BTS level mainstream success. When American media praise BTS, they rarely talk about K-pop more than describing what BTS is. The interest in K-pop is strong from fans but not necessarily Western media, while you often will read in online articles that just mention BTS as a popular music act. Again, I do agree. At this point I think it is not biased to say that BTS is on another level. This definitely does not mean that other groups are bad or not as talented, but they just aren't as successful as BTS. As for the aspect of older groups, even though they managed to spread K-pop overseas a little bit and helped BTS with it, they surely didn't have as huge of an impact as BTS does now. I know military enlistment is scary for many boy group stans out there, but it is something we have to accept, because it's a South Korean thing and most of these idols are Korean. I also agree that many act like BTS or Big Hit try to not go to military. The boys are ready to go when they have to. So, my friends, this is already the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed watching it, and if you did, please don't forget to leave a like and also subscribe. As always, I want to thank all of my subscribers who participated in this video. See you next week, bye.